Disneyland with Kids podcast, bringing you travel tips, park tidbits, and the best Southern California travel deals. Welcome to the Disneyland with Kids podcast. Do you ever see random Mickeys? Today we're talking about searching out hidden Mickeys at Disneyland and beyond. I'm Becca with This Crazy Adventure Called Life.
And I'm Jessica with the happiest blog on earth.
Okay, Jessica, have you ever heard the term hidden Mickeys?
I see them in my dreams and when I'm awake.
And when we say hidden Mickeys, we are not talking about Mickeys that are hiding from you or like your kid hid their stuffed Mickey. No, we're talking about strategically placed Mickeys that has become a tradition among the Disney Imagineers and even the animators. Sometimes put those into the movies and stuff. So, what is a hidden Mickey, Jessica?
It's basically 3 circles placed just so that it looks like the silhouette of Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
And you'll probably talk about this, but it comes in a big variety. Some ways that you might see more obviously, and some ways that takes a little bit more imagination.
Yes. And as actually, you mentioned the 3 circles, but we do have some that are not the circles. Sometimes it's a profile of Mickey. Sometimes it's like you're looking at him from the front and he is waving from a clock tower, which we'll talk about. But hidden Mickeys, once you start seeing them, you won't be able to stop. But it's a great way to keep kids entertained in the parks, in lines, and like maybe when they're waiting for like their food or something. So we wanted to talk about that today on the podcast. So Jessica, are you a big hidden Mickeys person? Do you like to
I've
find
never
them?
purchased, like, the books on hidden Mickeys, and I'd say I'm more of a casual hidden Mickey. I really enjoy seeing some more obscure ones, but I'm not always on the hunt for them.
I'm about the same, but my kids think everything is a hidden Mickey now. Like we stay at a specific hotel on Harbor Boulevard, the Courtyard, a lot. And we were out there and someone had spilled something on the cement that stained, and it was 3 like a big circle and 2 small circles. And my kids are like, "Oh my gosh, they have a hidden Mickey here." So anytime my kids see any circles, it's a hidden Mickey. That's kind of rubbed off on me because we were at the parks together recently and you had this dress that I think it was like leopard
Mhm.
spots supposedly. But I'm like, some of these leopard spots are almost hidden Mickeys, Jessica. So,
Yeah, and that's, like, part of the fun too, is extending the magic from your trip when you go home and then you start noticing these hidden Mickeys in everyday life, sometimes even in landscaping or in shadows. It's a lot of fun.
it is. So I wanted to talk today about some of our favorite hidden Mickeys around Disneyland and California Adventure. I'm going to let you go first, sharing a hidden Mickey, and hopefully you don't take one of mine.
Well, I know so very few, so we'll see if this one is on your list, but it was actually one that was pointed out to me when I did an early morning walk through California Adventure, and those are paid opportunities to get up around 6 or 6:30 and exercise in the theme parks before they open. So if you're a guest of one of the Disney hotels, you can do that. And I've done it twice, and it's a lot of fun, but not for a day that you're planning on rope dropping or using early entry. So we did that one time with a group of people, and then another time I did it with my dad and my daughter. They took us into Cars Land, and you walk all the way back to Cars Land almost to Radiator Springs. So you're down the street and you can turn right to go to Radiator Springs. But if you look left and you look up at just the right angle, you can see that the electrical wires, part of Cars Land, are shaped into a hidden Mickey. You really have to be in the right spot, and I loved that.
Yeah, that was a great one. I was in that first group that did that walk with you. And I love that she took the time to point that out. She also took the time to point out the smallest hidden Mickey, and
Mhm.
it's in the entryway to Carthay Circle. So that one was great. That one was not on my list, and I feel okay. Most of mine are on the Disneyland side. So, one that I wanted to point out that is a profile of Mickey is on Pirates of the Caribbean. And most people don't know about this. And I showed it to our mods this last trip while we were going through in between where the captain's quarters are and the pirate room. As you go around this corner, there are rocks that come out on the right side that are in the shape of Mickey Mouse's profile. So
Cool.
definitely check that one out. It's really fun to see that one. And then I mentioned that there was one in a clock tower. Do you know where that one is, Jessica?
No, I can't think of it, but if I had to guess, is it in Peter Pan somewhere? Because I'm
It
trying to
is
think
in
of the
Peter
clock tower.
Pan.
Okay.
It is. When you fly over London
Oh, okay.
and
See,
you
I
come
was
around
thinking
Big
like
Ben.
before the ride. I was thinking like in the queue or something. Okay, great.
No, it's in the ride, and you come around Big Ben, and on the back side of Big Ben, you will see
Ooh.
Mickey standing there with his hand waving at you.
Another
Yeah.
reason to ride Peter Pan's flight.
Yes. Sometimes we see hidden Mickeys that were probably not intentional by the Imagineers just because we start making them out of everything, I think.
Right.
But what are some common places that you might be able to see them like throughout the parks? Like when I think of that, I think of the railings a lot of times will
Oh,
have a
right.
hidden
Mhm.
in them or something. Can you think of another
Or
common
like the
like
benches in the Esplanade in between the parks, it's clearly a Mickey Mouse silhouette turned on its side, and
mhm,
there's so many of them, but it's the type of thing that you maybe notice, but you don't consciously say, "Oh, there's a Mickey," because it just goes so well into the land, into the space of Disneyland. A lot of ones that I'll notice are like rocks, 3 rocks placed together or tiles or something like that, and, there is there's several in the waiting area in Blue Bayou, and this is funny about hidden Mickeys because my cousin's daughter, 2 years old, getting a little anxious. We're waiting for our table to be ready, and the host tries to, distract and says, "There's hidden Mickeys in this room." And so we start looking, and she said, "There's actually X number, and there's so many." So I'm like, "Okay, this has got to be a repeated pattern." So it's actually part of the stained glass windows, and it's just three different part of the stained glass, and it's repeated, but a 2-year-old was not excited about that, and we pointed out what it was. It just was too much of a stretch for her imagination because they weren't exactly circle, they were probably square, but the way they were placed, it was obvious once you, like, soaked it in that it was done that
yeah,
way. So, the younger the kids, you're gonna want more obvious ones and maybe ones that you don't pass by quickly because, sometimes when you're driving or you're doing something, you're like, "Oh, look at that cute dog sticking their head out the window," and it's gone, and the kids don't see it, and then they are
are
really
upset.
bummed. So, let's start out with those really obvious hidden Mickeys to the kids.
Definitely. What is your favorite, like, obvious hidden Mickey then, since you brought that up?
Yeah, probably the one outside the Millennium Falcon on the exit, which is also perfect for younger kids, especially if they're not tall enough or wanting to ride, because you could be sitting at the exit waiting for your party. And if you're going out the exit, you can either go straight toward the front of the Millennium Falcon, or you can go right, which is going to take you up a ramp. Now, up that ramp and curved, you're going to see a hidden Mickey in the wall. And it's actually looks like, what's
It
the
looks like the
word?
stormtroopers
Like
could
battle
not
wounds on
use
the wall.
yeah. It looks like the stormtroopers did their normal job of aiming at someone, missed, and hit the wall.
Yep, and so that's a great one for the kids to see because they can actually get up there and touch it and see it and spend a little bit of time understanding what the concept of a hidden Mickey is before it passes by.
One of my favorite hidden Mickeys is while you're waiting to board the monorail in the Tomorrowland. So if you're waiting for the monorail, if you look down at Finding Nemo and the loading area, they all have a rope
Mhm.
that's laying there, and it's in the shape
That's
of a hidden
super
Mickey.
cute.
So it's a great one for while you're waiting for the monorail to show up to show kids. Now, we mentioned that there were books for hidden Mickey people. So if you really want to get into this and you want to find some of the more obscure hidden Mickeys, definitely look into those books. In fact, I don't know if they still do, but for a long time, they even sold them at Disneyland for you to purchase, but you can get them on Amazon and we'll link them down below. Great option if you really want to get into it. It's also a fun way to do something different. So if you've gone to the parks a lot and you're looking for something new to do, then this is a great option. When it comes to hidden Mickeys, let's give people a few tips of like what type of items or what they might see making hidden Mickeys in, especially in the rides. So comes to mind Haunted Mansion. In the ballroom, there is a plate setting that has the plates as a hidden Mickey. So that's one that I think, you can tell people, okay, it's a circular item, so it's going to make it. Can you think of items that they make into so people know when they're on this ride, look for this specific item if they want
I think
to
one of
find a
the
hidden Mickey?
first ones that I found myself very late in the game was 3 barrels tied together in Pirates of the Caribbean up above, but sometimes they're turned a different way because they are free flowing, but those are 3 barrels tied together just in that way, and it tends to be toward this is at the end of the ride, but it also tends to be a place where you might get backed up a little bit, so you're not moving through it as fast. So you can sit there and you can watch the pirates and you can look and explore all throughout that part of the attraction. I love that one. It's just a little bit before you go up the hill and say farewell to Captain Jack.
Yes, that's a great one. I think the biggest tip is to look for anything that is circular that you can imagine would make three circles to make a hidden Mickey. Obviously, we said there are some that are from the side, the profile, some there from the front, but it's a great thing to do. And like you can even look up YouTube videos. I know our friends, the insiders, they have some about hidden Mickeys. Lots of people share them. It's a great way to entertain yourself and just look for that little extra touch of Disney magic. And they do also sometimes include it in films. So I wanted to touch on that really quick. Have you ever noticed a hidden Mickey in one of the animations?
I don't think I've really tried to look for those. I'm usually looking for numbers and
Easter egg
different
and
things.
Easter eggs from them,
Yes.
yeah, definitely. So in the newest Winnie the Pooh one that came out, like, I wanna say around 2010, in the 2010s,
Are we
maybe?
talking live action or animation?
No, the
Okay.
animation,
Okay.
and they think Christopher Robin's been kidnapped, right? But
Okay.
anyway, Tigger is going through the Hundred Acre Woods, and he steps in some mud, and he leaves paw prints, but one of the paw prints is a hidden Mickey. It's in the shape
That's
of
so
Mickey.
cute.
So that's a fun one. And then Toy Story, I believe, is the one where Mickey is on the clock.
Okay. So
Yeah.
many hidden details. I love
So
it.
there's just those little hidden details. Of course, most of us are looking for the Easter eggs in the movies, especially in Pixar movies.
Right.
But you can find hidden Mickeys there as well. And I feel like the Easter eggs and the hidden Mickeys kind of go hand in hand together as far as finding those hidden little details. It just makes things a little bit extra fun. And the Easter eggs especially make things a little cryptic. You're like,
Yes.
is
How
this
does
hinting
this
to
work?
another movie? Is this hinting at
Mhm.
this? Like, how are these things tied together? So, definitely something that you can check out. That is all we have time for here today. And we are so excited that you joined us on the Disneyland Kids podcast. And we will see you real soon.